5 years ago, when I was 18, I was really hurting. My long term boyfriend cheated on me, and he loved her more than he ever loved me. It drove me wild, and I started to act pretty reckless. I talked to a lot of people on obscure social media websites. One guy, Jack, seemed really sweet, and he was from around my area, though on my profiles I used the city nearby instead of the actual city I lived in. We started texting, and it seemed like we had a lot in common. New Year's Eve came, and I didn't have any plans, and I didn't want to be alone. So Jack said we could meet up at a hotel and party together. I met up with Jack, and one of the first things he did was ask me if I was really 18. I didn't think it was odd because I look extremely young, and people pretty much ask me this on a daily basis. I worked in a retail, and customers literally would ask me if I was old enough to work here. So I thought it was a normal question, and he made me show him my driver's license to prove I was of age. I did, and then I asked to see his in return. He flashed it so briefly that I only saw one thing: the year he was born, 1983. I spent like 5 whole minutes pretending to act normal while secretly processing this. Jack was 32. 32! Freaking 32! I quickly felt bad vibes from Jack. I hung out with him only 2 or more times before seeing that he truly was twisted. He didn't have a car, he lived with his mom, and I wasn't allowed over. He insulted his mom and described her as a bitch. He talked about hating cops, and he was vulgar and obscene, and it grossed me out. We went to a concert, and he tried putting his hands up on my shirt and down my pants while I was talking to someone there. He took me to a storage unit he had, and he wanted to hang out there because we couldn't go to his place. Inside, there was only an air mattress and a container on the ground that he peed in. After that, I completely ghosted Jack, but didn't block him. Everyone asked me why I didn't block him, and I always responded, because if he ever texts me that he wants to hurt me or find me, or threatens me in any way, I want to receive that text and have a record of it instead of have it go into the void and seen. So he texts me every couple months for a year and a half. Totally delusional psycho stuff like, "Happy 4th of July, wish you could be here with me." Or, "You're just a stupid slut with no brain." Or, "I'm crying, imagining the beautiful life we could have together." Then it became, "I'm so sorry, please talk to me," and many more. He left me voicemails describing disgusting sexual things he wanted to do with me. One day, I swore I saw him at the store I worked at, and I felt a little scared and hid in the back room for a bit. I thought I was seeing things. Then it happened again, and a few months later, I was sure it was him, but he didn't see me. A few days later, one of my coworkers told me, "Someone named Jack came here looking for you, but you aren't here. I told him you weren't in that day, and he asked for your schedule, but I said I didn't have it." That's when the terror hit me, and the reality set in that I was not safe. I went with my friend to buy pepper spray that day, and on the way there, my friend asked if I've ever Googled Jack. I said it hadn't occurred to me. I did right then and there, and a bunch of articles came up that describe how he sexually harassed, threatened, and assaulted women. He had a serious record including strangulation, slashing tires on cop cars, and all kinds of assault and battery, breach of peace, trespassing, and so much more. There were news articles about him sending sexually explicit pictures to underage girls, and I saw his mugshots. Seeing Jack's mugshots online was another reality check. The same day, I was back in bed at home with my parents. There was someone at my door, and my stepmom went to answer it. "Someone named Jack is here for you." She was confused, and I immediately panicked and told her everything. She told him I wasn't here, and he left. And I finally called the police, saving every text and voicemail from him. And it came in handy because I emailed it all to the officer handling my case. He responded that he was deeply disturbed by the voicemails and that apparently the case was severely more sinister than I let on with the police in person. I came in and gave statements. They put a warrant out for Jack's arrest and I got the full no-contact protective order against him. During the month and a half it took them to find Jack, he visited my work one more time. The security cameras got it all on tape. He walked around the entire store, every department, every aisle, and Jack came to my house one more time. I was laying outside in the pool in the backyard, and my stepmom came out to tell me she was leaving for work and that I'd be home alone. She drove off, and only a few minutes later, I hear a commotion in the driveway and my stepmom yelling. I hear her scream, "Get inside right now and call 911." I knew Jack was there. I instantly jumped off the floating bed I was on, swam like I never swam before, bolted up the stairs into the house through the back door, locked it, ran to the front door and locked it, ran into my room and hid in my closet, all with crazy speed that I had no idea I was capable of. I remember hiding, hearing my heartbeat, hearing my crazy breathing, and hearing the water dripping all over the hardwood floor since I didn't get a towel. When my stepmom came in, she told me on her way to work she saw a car that looked like the one Jack had when he came to see me that other time. And on a hunch, she turned around and followed him back here. That blows my mind. If she didn't notice that car, make that connection, feel the slight gut feeling, turn around and risk her job, I don't know what would have happened to me. That was the last encounter with Jack. I haven't heard from him since, but I am still in fear constantly. He is awaiting a criminal trial. So please, Jack, let's never meet ever again.
This story happened the end of last year. For context, I'm a 16-year-old female, and what you might guess from the story, I don't live in the best part of my town. On to the story. I had met this guy while playing Overwatch. We'll call him Dave. Dave and I got along pretty well, so we exchanged our Snapchats, and clueless me left my location on. So for a few weeks, we were just playing video games and staying up late, texting on Snapchat. After a month of this routine, things started to get strange. Dave would send me photos of street signs, starting with a street about a mile away from my house. I was confused and still hadn't thought to turn off my location, and I didn't think about it. But on the next day, he sent a photo of a street sign that was closer. It went on like this for a while, until he sent a photo of the street a block away from my house. I started to become concerned, but still, I left my location on. A few days later, I got a series of photos. It was dark and late, and the photos were of sidewalks getting closer and closer to my house, until there was a photo of my house. I ran down the stairs and looked out the window, but didn't see anyone. I hid in the bathroom because the last thing I wanted was a photo of me through the window. Nothing happened after this, other than one of those little devil emojis. these emojis were sent, and then I was blocked. If some of you are curious why I didn't tell anyone this, if you have Snapchat, you know that the messages are only open for a certain amount of time. I personally don't know how to do it, but I know that you can change the time that it will show, and he set it to like a minute after opened. And I didn't want him to know I was screenshotting the conversations. It tells you whenever the combo is screenshot. So, Dave, let's not meet. I'm 13, and this happened a month ago on Reddit as well. I posted something on r Make New Friends Here. Pretty sure that's what it's called. Asking if anyone wanted to talk about video games because I was bored. Almost instantly after I posted it, I got a message from this guy. The subject was, "Hi." So I thought, okay, that's a bit weird, but I clicked on it. He said how old he was, how much he wanted to do inappropriate stuff and things I didn't understand and still don't, to me. I have no idea why, but I thought I could maybe change his views on kids. So I said about my age and how it's illegal to do those things where I'm from and probably where he's from. He then said that he doesn't care and did those things to girls my age and way younger than me too. No matter what I said, I would change his twisted mind, and he got more persistent. I thought about telling him I'm lesbian, but he would have said homophobic things like how he could change me, and those type of comments would make me feel worse, therefore being more traumatic. Anyways, he probably got impatient because he said, "Thank you for wasting my time. Bye." Which I then replied, "Thanks for traumatizing me. Bye." That scarred me for life. I'm serious now. I'm even more cautious than I already was. I hope to never meet you. And if I do, I hope it's behind bars or in court.
When I was in 8th to 10th grade, I was extremely involved in this small building server. The average age was probably 15 to 17, and I joined a group of builders and Skyped with them every weekend for hours. We all became close, fast, and trusted each other enough that we followed each other on Instagram. And I became particularly close with one of the builders in my friend group named Peter. Peter was in the same grade as me, and we ended up texting quite a lot. I heard rumors that Peter might have a crush on me, but he denied them, which I found laughable because it was the internet and I just brushed it off. Everything was fine for a while until something began to feel off when I talked to him. I was starting to constantly catch him telling small lies, and this bothered me, so I figured it was time to distance myself from Peter and stop talking to him. Cut to a few months later of no contact, and Peter out of the blue texts me that he is going to be possibly transferring to my high school so he can get in-state tuition for college. Peter's plan is to somehow live completely alone and support himself while in high school. My stomach drops when I read the text, and I know this feels very, very off. I try to be calm and tell him that his plan is crazy, and I tell him that it's oddly convenient that he chose my random suburb. Peter insists that his plan will work, and it's just a coincidence that he is going to my high school. I'm trying to call Peter's bluff and hoping he's just screwing with me because I cut him off. And Peter says he bought the plane tickets already and is going to stay in my town to visit some high schools in the area. Fear washes over me and I realize Peter definitely has some very unhealthy attachment to me. And Peter was not bluffing. To my horror, He posts a picture on Snapchat at the airport. Peter asks to meet up while he's there, and I, of course, decline. Later, I see on his Snapchat story that he's taking a tour of my high school. Peter is taking lots of videos and pictures, probably hoping that I can see. Luckily, I am stuck at home with pneumonia, and I spend the next few days on edge and afraid he was going to ring my doorbell at any moment. Luckily, he was not smart enough to find where I live, and he flies home and does not follow his plan. The baffling part was none of my old group on the Minecraft server thought he was doing anything creepy, so I felt like I was going crazy for thinking this was weird. I thought my rejection for this meetup and the continued no contact would be the end of it, but about 2 years later, I was just committed to my dream college, and I still, stupidly, followed Peter on social media because I wanted some warning if he came to my area. And once again, Peter did. I see him posing in front of the library at my college with a caption saying, "Transferring here is definitely the move." Cut to a few months later, Peter finds out I had a boyfriend and directly contacts me for the first time in 2 years. He starts asking strange questions like, "Will he protect you?" I shouldn't have answered, but for some reason I did. And I finally blocked him and stopped following him on social media out of fear. He has not tried to contact me since. Definitely made some mistakes because I was young and scared and had others telling me that it was not a big deal. So Peter, let's not meet.
I've never posted to this subreddit before, but after working with the authorities, I feel safe enough to share my story. For context, I, female 20, started an OnlyFans account over the summer to support myself through school, and things were great until I posted my Amazon wishlist. Amazon doesn't release your address to people who gift you items, but third-party sellers can, and that's where I went wrong. By the way, not trying to promote it here. This is a very frightening story, and I felt like it should be shared. In late July, I got a puppy. One night, around 2 a.m., I took him outside to go to the bathroom. While he was doing his business, I noticed a car parked outside my family home. I saw a figure in the car and could tell they were looking at me, but I couldn't make out their face because it was pitch black outside. Feeling a bit uneasy, I picked up my puppy to take him back inside, and when I started to move, the car parked in my driveway. I sprinted back inside and locked the door, but they never approached my house. The next morning, I went to check the mail. There was an envelope addressed to my OF name with $20 in it, but no note. I currently was still at home with my parents, who had no idea about my OF account, so I didn't mention it to them. A week later, I moved back to my college town to get ready to start school. At this time, I had stopped posting for the time being until I could figure out how they got my address. I've watched enough crime shows to know there's a possibility I could be in danger. I lived in a duplex with a gated parking lot for reference. One morning I was planning on vlogging my trip to Target because I was planning on starting a YouTube channel in the near future since OF felt unsafe. When I got to my car, it had been ransacked and my vlogging camera was missing. I know it's my fault for leaving it in my car, but I was using it the night before, and since I lived in a gated area, I didn't think it would be unsafe. It wasn't in plain sight either. I had hidden it in my glove box. I used that camera to film my content, and the SD card that was in there had all of my unreleased photos/videos. I know they stole it just for the SD card. Anyways, this is where the story gets weird. There are cameras outside in the parking lot, so we were able to watch this person break into my car and find the camera. And they didn't touch any of the 7 other cars on the lot. They knew which car was mine, which suggests they had been watching me for a bit. After they got the camera, they walked around the duplex until stopping near my window. My bedroom faces an outside street, and my blinds are broken, so it's very easy to see in. I have a curtain, but it doesn't cover my window all the way. So this person watched me sleep for an hour or so. I have no idea why they didn't try to break in, but thank God they didn't. This person then sold the camera to a pawn shop, and since I knew the serial number, the police were able to find it. However, my SD card was missing. I believe the police are still trying to track them down, but I have broken my lease and moved to a new place, so hopefully that will keep me safe. Hey, guy who terrorized me at my home and apartment and stole my camera. Let's not meet.
Hi everyone, it's your creepy sister here. I do apologize that it took me some time to post again, since I got really sick and my throat wasn't well enough to record anything. But to make up for it, I have a video with a great spooky reader. We have Marie from Marie Lives the Horror. Her link is on the description of the video, so don't be shy and show her some love. And I will also try to upload as much as possible moving forward. And thank you so much for your continued support. I really appreciate it. If ever you want me to read a story, you can email it to me. My email is in the description below. And please do consider liking, commenting, and subscribing to the channel. Once again, thank you for listening.